Okay, this is chapter 2.6, graphing linear equations in dun 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 standard form. Silly, I know, but you need to remember it. Standard form is not necessarily the one we use all the time, and it looks like this. Oh, it doesn't look like that. Let's try this. Ax plus by equals c. That's standard form. We're looking for the a, which is some kind of number, and the b and the c. And sometimes that could look just like this one. This is example 1. Negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 6. Okay, so what you need to see is that the a is this negative 2, and the b ends up being this 3, and the c is the negative 6. You just have an x and a y now, which is something we can work with. Anytime we have an x and a y and there's no squares or cubes, it makes a linear equation, which is, when we graph it, is a line. All right, we're not going to get a circle or a parabola or anything else with a linear equation with an x and a y. Okay, so to graph it, we basically just have to put it in that slope-intercept form. And that's what you've been using. So you should be okay with that, but we just have to kind of maneuver this equation around until it's in that. And remember, the slope-intercept form is, I always just say y equals mx plus b. In fact, a lot of times I just say y equals mx plus b form because that's very not confusing, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Slope-intercept form, where we have slope and the y-intercept. So we're going to just change this around. Basically, that's how that's going to work. And I want to get the y all by itself on the left side of the equal sign, on the left of the equation. So I'm going to leave this one alone for now, and I'm going to add 2x to both sides. That leaves me with 3y equals, now I could go negative 6 plus 2x, but if I notice over here, I want to keep my x closest here. So we're going to put the 2x first and the negative 6 second. Now hopefully that's not too much of a jump for you. Next step is to just divide everything by 3. I can write it like this, or I could write just one big line with 1 3, like this. Both of those are the same. This one I think is a little more confusing because people sometimes don't know that they need to divide both the 2 and the 6 by 3. So I usually go to the extra effort just to make it clear, to divide them both like that. And then when we rewrite it, those cancel out. Y is by itself now. And this becomes just 2/3 x. And 6/3 is 2, so it's minus 2. And now this is something that's easy to graph. It's something you recognize, the slope-intercept form. So standard form is what you're going to see an equation in a lot. And then if you convert it over to slope-intercept form, you can graph it more easily. This one right here has a y-intercept at negative 2, which would be right here. And I apologize, my graph is not going to be perfect. I'm hoping that yours will be better. I do want you to be careful. Use graph paper and rulers if you can. I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you, the quick way, the quick graph. So if start at negative 2, and my rise is 2, and my run is 3, both positive. So up 2 over 1, 2, 3. And then I'd go up 2 and over 1, 2, 3 again, and my line would look something, not exactly like, but something like that. And I could put points in on those. All right, so you got that. Pretty quick and easy. Let's look at the second one. X plus 3y equals a negative 3. All right, so you just have to find the x-intercept on this one. Oh, I'm going to have to stop for a second. This is actually giving us a different method, and that's okay. We're going to look for the place the x and the y-intercept. The x and the y-intercept is the place. This is the y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. And this is the x-intercept, where it crosses the x-axis. All right, so we just start with x plus 3y equals negative 3. to find the x-intercept, we have to substitute 0 for y. Because this point, wherever it happens to be, y is not going to be a positive number, it's not going to be a negative number. Y is going to be 0. I mean, like this point, possibly, we could imagine that this point is negative 3, 0. See, there's no up or down, so we're going to put 0 in for y. So x plus 3 times 0 equals negative 3. And then that just leaves us with, because 3 times 0 is nothing, it leaves us with x equals negative 3. Oh, I guessed right. I don't know why I did that. It just happens sometimes, because when I look at the book, the line actually goes this way. And I've got it going with a positive slope. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Find the y-intercept the same way. You can substitute 0 in for the x, because the y at the y-intercept is someplace where x does not have a positive or a negative number. It's just right at 0, and the y is the only thing that has anything. So doing that leaves us with x. Oh, we're supposed to put 0 in for x. 0 plus 3y equals negative 3. See, and this is just not there. And then I'm going to divide both sides by positive 3 so that my y is left all by itself. And that leaves me negative 1. And so my y-intercept is negative 1 and my x-intercept is negative 3. And if I wanted to, I could just go, well, x is negative 3. That's 1, 2, 3 in the negative direction. Put a little point there. And y is negative 1. And then, again, use my line tool to draw the line that goes through those 2 points, or to sort of draw the line that goes through those 2 points. You'll notice it's not 100% accurate. All right, so that's graphing a line, a linear equation in standard form, just using the intercepts. This is the intercepts. And of course, the intercepts means that's where it crosses the axis. That's where it intercepts them. So, something you need to know. I wouldn't have taken the time to write it. Those are the 2 things that you need to be able to do during this lesson, as well as some story problems and stuff like that. All right? Enjoy.